Hello, welcome to Western New York Missing and Unidentified Persons Network here live on YouTube tonight. Tonight we are discussing Chautauqua County Jane Doe, which was discovered on December 6th, 1983. So I'm going to start by going and showing you guys the group flyer that we that's been the overall what we've been sharing. Let me get rid of that. Okay. Chautauqua County Jane Doe. So, Chautauqua County Jane Doe was a Caucasian female between the ages of 30 and 37. She was around 5'4" and 128 pounds. She was not wearing shoes at the time of her discovery, but if she were to have been wearing shoes, they estimated she would have been a, size 5 or 6 woman's shoe. She was found by a truck driver on December 6, 1983 in a ditch alongside Old Route 17 in the town of Ellery, New York. Chautauqua County Jane Doe was discovered to have been shot once inside the mouth, once in the back, and twice in her chest. She is believed to be of Canadian or European descent. Due to the birth control method in place that was not available in the U.S. It was European-made, but also sold in Canada. If you have any information about Chautauqua County Jane Doe, please contact the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Department at 716-753-4232. And anonymous tips can always be emailed to our anonymous email, which is WNYMissing&Unidentified at yahoo.com. Chautauqua County Jane Doe, as you can see from the recreation photo, and remember, this isn't necessarily exactly how she looked. This is only made to resemble similarities of her in real life. This is not a real life photo. I will not be showing the post-mortem picture unless by request by personal message, but not during live. But that is what she was estimated to look like while she was living. And she had some dental work in the upper right part of her mouth that some of it was made of gold, and that was another reason they thought her to be of Canadian or European descent, or possibly had that done other than in the United States. Another thing besides the IUD and that led investigators to believe that she also came from there was the camisole she was wearing was from Carpi, I think I said that right, Carpi, Italy. And it was not an exported item at the time. Purely imported, so she had to have been in Carpi, Italy at some point in her life or had family there, but along with the other things pointing to the fact that she was probably a traveler. Chautauqua County Jane Doe may or may not have been born in the United States, definitely probably traveled here, but definitely had links to Europe and or Canada. This week, one of our members also found somebody that we are requesting comparison against, which I will try to pull that up here momentarily, because this woman went missing in 1983. She was traveling between Germany, where her mother was, San Francisco, where her father was, and also in Canada. She was supposed to be returning to school in September, I think, that year. And never arrived. So the professor at the school in Canada called and filed her missing or reported her missing, and they filed the report in San Francisco where her father was because that was her mailing address. But that is Miss Angela Hartman. We are requesting comparison against Chautauqua County Jane Doe, and I'll show you a quick picture here of Angela Hartman. And again, she was born I believe in Germany. Her mother definitely resided there. She visited there. That could explain the foreign IUD clothing and dental work. And that's Chautauqua County Jane Doe. And again, we do have a post-mortem picture available. This is not real Chautauqua County Jane Doe. This is a recreation of what she may have looked like in real life. This does not mean that she has to be a twin to this. So if you know anybody that resembles this description, it may or may not be Angela Hartman. We are hoping to request and succeed in comparison, whether it be her or not. We have no idea. I did not see Angela on the rule out list. Actually, I didn't see Angela in the NamUs database at all because she's from Canada. I seen something about her case possibly being transferred from San Francisco Police Department to Ottawa Police Department in Canada in 2019. One of our moderators is going to call and find out more information on Miss Angela. But I am not sure that they are in the same database, maybe CODIS, but again, no guarantee. I do not see her listed. And I'll read an article about Angela Hartman really quick, just so that you can see why. There's enough similarities that I think it's worth the comparison. Thank you, Amy Ervelina, for keeping your eyes peeled and bringing it up that this is a possibility, because without extra eyes and ears, it's impossible to check every missing person report ever. We definitely need your help. Angela has been missing since August 4th, 1983 from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. She is considered endangered missing. Date of birth is January 4th, 1956. She was 27 years old at the time of her disappearance, 5'2", 115 pounds, white female, blonde hair, brown eyes. It says in here as well, dentals available, possibly stainless steel fillings. Now, what that sounds like to me is that her family knew that she had extensive dental work done in the past, but the possible stainless steel part tells me that they cannot confirm that they were definitely steel, or it would say definitely steel fillings. So I think there is a question as to what color they could be. So could it be the gold extensive bridge work of Jane Doe? I think it's a possibility, but I try not to quit looking or look for other possibilities while we are trying to do comparisons made on them. I'm going to close my door really quick. I will be right back. Hang on one moment, please. Okay, hopefully no more dog barking. Sorry about that. So a little bit about Angela Hartman, and this is from the Doe Network by Matt Wood and Toby Cohen from the Ottawa Sun. Time's tough for clues. Few leads in 20-year disappearance of Angela Hartman, featuring the Doe Network organization and member Angela Ellis. A summer of travel before embarking on a hectic university career turned into 2 decades of mystery and a missing person case so cold much of the information is gone. Today marks the 20th anniversary of the disappearance of Angela Hartman, who was last seen in the Ottawa area. She was scheduled to begin studies at Trent University in Petersburg in September 1983 when the 27-year-old didn't turn up. The university president notified her family. Hartman's father then notified police in San Francisco where he lived. The investigation revealed few clues, and the case went on the unsolved pile where it has remained. Always wondered. One of the few remaining links to Hartman is Joe Hoffer. The pair met in February 1983 and dated briefly while she studied philosophy and English in Freiburg, Germany. He moved to Cleveland after the pair split up to earn a bachelor's degree, but he had an incorrect mailing address for her and they lost touch with each other. Hoffer learned of Hartman's disappearance in September of that year from Hartman's mother. I've always wondered what happened to her, he said. As he knew Hartman so long, Hoffer remembers few details. He did know she was going to travel in Canada for a couple of weeks before school and might have been using Ottawa as a base. He tried to visit her mother when he returned to Germany in 1985, but she had also moved and left no forwarding address. About 6 months ago, Hoffer typed her name into Google search, hoping to find out what had happened to her. He came across her case on the website of the Doe Network, an international volunteer organization dedicated to missing person cold cases, contacted them and provided what information he could. Angela Ellis, a volunteer for the Doe Network, said that they have been trying to track down Hartman's family, but San Francisco detectives lost contact with them over the years. There's very little information on her case. We need all the help we can get, she said, adding Hoffer is their only real lead. But Ellis is hoping that perhaps someone in Ottawa might remember Hartman where she stayed or worked, or if she had family in the region. We just need to get her picture out there, hoping that someone will recognize her, remember something, or be willing to talk after a long time, she said. We found after relationships change, people may be more willing to talk about something that may have happened. And the article just shut off because I have been having issues with my phone, so I apologize for that. Give me a moment and hopefully I will get it pulled back up here. Again, sorry. Okay, I'll try to pick up where I left off in a moment here. We found after relationships change, people may be more willing to talk about something that may have happened. Given the amount of time that has passed since the initial report, much of the information is sketchy at best, but there is some that could jar a friend or relative's memory. Hartman was born in Marin County, California, near San Rafael on January 4th, 1956. She spent time in the U.S. and Germany before coming to Canada to travel. Her father's name is W.H. Hartman, who could be living in San Francisco or may have passed away. And she had a sister named Gabrielle or Gabriella, whose married name is unknown. Hartman had an American passport but spent time living in Germany with her mother, whose maiden name was Jurgens, and had family living in Hamburg. Whether she's alive or dead, we just want to be able to close the case, Ellis explained. We want her family to know what happened to her. The San Francisco Police Department handled the investigation, but as time wore on, contact with the family was broken, providing the Doe Network with very little to go on. That's part of the reason I am trying to bring attention to her case, because she was left in the dust as far as any attention to her case was concerned, said Ellis. Her case is like many other missing women in Canada. There could be a murderer walking loose out there. So that is Angela Hartman. So we do know she had ties in Germany, in San Francisco, and Canada, and traveled about. The man she dated in 83 of that year just happened to move to Cleveland, Ohio, which is, guess how far away from here? 2 hours, maybe, roughly. So that's kind of concerning that they broke up, and within 6 months he had completely lost contact and heard from her mother first that she was missing. Little weird to me. With very little to go on, he could be very innocent, and thank you very much for providing the Doe Network with that information, but it is also something that should most certainly be looked into, in my opinion. Somebody with that much information and that close to the case knew the family on a personal level, visited the mother in Germany and her here, couldn't make contact with either one afterwards. Seems a little off to me, but again, it could be purely innocent. My opinion does not matter when it comes to these cases, but I do think it should be looked into, being that he was Googling her name and wondering what happened, but the mom told him that she was missing. Maybe he was finding out if they ever found out what happened to her since she went missing, but I think he would have had other ways to try to reach family if he knew that much about them. The only difference that I can really differentiate clearly between Chautauqua County Jane Doe and Angela Hartman is that Angela was 27 that year, and we suspect Jane Doe was estimated to be between ages 30 and 37. But again, estimates in the 80s, how reliable they were, one may never know, but I do believe that it probably wasn't up to today's standards of estimates or technology. So it's definitely a possibility. But Chautauqua County Jane Doe, the sheriff's office has had a lot of different new set of eyes look at the case. I know that I had turned it into CC Moore at one point, but I know they were trying to finish up some licensing in New York State to be able to officially take on some of the cases here. And there's a lot of things that go into that, whether the investigating agency is willing, able, and sometimes it's money. Sometimes there is crowdfunding available. Sometimes law enforcement will accept that. Sometimes they will not until they are personally provided a grant or a funding for that specific purpose. And some just do not want to say yes to modern technology because of the cost, maybe. So it's all the way around. It's not really an easy task, let's put it that way. But Chautauqua County Jane Doe has had many sets of eyes on her. She has been published in international magazines. Dental records have been sent to the FBI. There have been no leads. There have been a few comparisons, and I don't see all of the rule outs on her list in the NamUs database, but I know I personally had her compared to Janice Donahue, missing from Brentwood, New York, same year, I believe. I'd have to look at my notes really quick to confirm that, but she is not Janice Donahue. And I know just recently they ruled out that she isn't, I believe the last name was Siztza, Siztza or something like that, but they also ruled out her as a possibility of being Chautauqua County Jane Doe, but we are just now starting to get some rule outs there. But being that she was discovered in 1983. She did not have shoes on at the time of discovery, like I said. 4 shots and close range kind of sounds personal to me, but that's neither here nor there. Brown eyes, brown hair, had some graying around the edges right here. Again, if you'd like to look at the postmortem picture, that is available upon request, but I know some people do not want to see that. But it is very hard with the language barrier as well. If you happen to be Italy born and can speak fluent Italian and know any Facebook groups or any websites where you can share her flyer and her story. I know there's one even printed up, I believe, in German as far as a flyer goes for her. Some people call her Ellery Jane Doe, Chautauqua County Jane Doe. It's the same Jane Doe found on the old Route 17 in Ellery, New York. It is well past 37 years, and she more than deserves her name back. So I think it is time to either start considering DNA and some crowdfunding if they have not done so already, or keep doing the submitting with the comparisons. But if they have to do that manually, it gets expensive, and they'll start denying you that through NamUs. So it all depends on what kind of DNA is available for her in the database and how much they have to work with. That is a regular trucker's route. Back then, Route 17, it was a trucker's route. The only possible lead that they got back in the day on Chautauqua County Jane Doe is that people might have seen her at a truck stop in Pennsylvania in the days previous to her discovery, meaning that she was traveling east, probably without a vehicle. So that's about the only tip, besides the note that was found in her pocket from the Blue Boy Motel in Vancouver, I believe it is, Canada. And that note has some basically shorthand that no one's been able to decipher to date. There's a lot of different ideas on what it could be, and there's a lot of familiarities in it, but it has not been totally decoded to date. Nobody knows exactly what the note means, but the best guess that detectives took, I believe, is direct lines within the JFK airport at the time. So again, she could be Canadian born, she could be German born, she could be anything European born. She likely traveled. I think some isotope testing would help, but I don't know how much the expense is for that, if it's worth putting much into, or if they should go right to DNA, but there's that. Are there any questions? I don't see anybody over in chat so far. Hello, I see one of you watching at least. I've seen a couple people pop in and pop out. I also want to take this time to announce that Monday nights, I will be going live on YouTube every Monday night, and we will be doing something along the lines of meddling in mysterious murders with Mary on Mondays. So feel free to like, subscribe, and share, because the more that follow, the more we can get the word out, and the more does that we can identify, and the more missing we can bring home. We need your help. It's never a one-person thing. I thank the flyer girls that continuously step what they're doing to get me a missing flyer made or a doe flyer made. But there are does and missing all over New York State. So even if you aren't right here in Western New York, sometimes we do post surrounding areas of missing people in New York, as well as our sister group, Six Does, which is more international. So any cases go there. We do focus on 6 missing and 6 does at a time, but willing to look and share any case there. And I will continue going live as I'm able to highlight some of our backlogged cases, because they're just that. I have a good list of probably 25 cold cases that I have not even mentioned in a live before. So there's that. But I think I will probably end it on that note. I'm hoping I didn't forget anything too important. I did want to make an announcement, but I haven't yet got approval to do so in a totally unrelated case that we helped solve tonight. But when we are able to make that announcement, I will be making it on the private discussion group and public page. But we just solved a long-term unreported missing persons case from 1989. So that is a good day here in Western New York Missing and Unidentified Persons Network. But I think today is Chautauqua County's Jane Doe's year to be identified and have her name back. Please invite people to like our page. We also now have a TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. So follow us on all of those social media platforms. And we couldn't do it without all of you. So thank you so much for joining. I hope that was informative. I don't see any questions popping up, so unless it's a technicality on my end, it's been hard to get people to switch from going live over on Facebook to going live on YouTube. But eventually, I know that you guys will figure it out and be able to jump around with me, as we will be touching base on all of these social media platforms. So stay tuned for that. If you can retweet and reshare and everything on all of those things, please do. If you need our link, let me know. But on that note, everybody have a wonderful week. I don't know when we will start our Monday nights quite yet, but I will announce that as soon as I do know. If you have any questions related to Chautauqua County Jane Doe or Angela Hartman, please message our page. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful week.